All right, we're gonna get started in about 2 minutes. All right, cool. So really, I'm just gonna introduce you all. Make it family oriented. Break the ice a little bit. If you all could maybe give a little shout out to the teachers out here. So give maybe like a
Mhm.
tip so for teachers for your best point of view as possible. And then talk about what you all got going on.
Cool.
All right, and we are live.
All right.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Greetings.
Hello. Greetings.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, welcome to the T Simple podcast. We focus on providing simple solutions in the classroom. I have family here, and it is definitely family. As soon as we got on the phone call, it just was a lot of love and a lot of wisdom and a lot of gems already being just spit out. And it definitely calmed me down. So I just know it's family and the environment. I got my sister Mzuri. She is the one, who did the amazing Fannie Lou Hamer Story. She wrote it and directed it. She is just amazing. She is a Black Tony Award winner. You can see her amazing just energy radiating off the camera. And then I have her amazing partner, Mr. Djehuti. He is her partner in crime, brother man from, I felt like, he's my mentor already. I only know him for 2 minutes, but he's definitely coming in with just a lot of wisdom and I appreciate just everything you're doing for this sister. And, I know that you're doing your thing. So welcome to T Simple Podcast. How y'all doing today?
We're doing good, brother. Good.
Awesome.
Absolutely. And it's not Batman and Robin. It is Michelle Obama. I don't know. It's both of you all are equally yoked. Both of you all are, just add to each other like me and my wife probably. You all have an amazing show coming out, Soulin with Mzuri and Djehuty. So let's talk about that. What is this amazing collaboration you all have coming for us?
Well, let's begin with soul and the fact that, of course, it has an ancient origin. So we know that soul denotes the non-physical or the immortal aspect of the human being. So that is something that transcends space and time, something that is eternal, right?
Yeah.
And infinite. And how this came about, I'll let Mzuri tell the story, but I just like to establish the basis, the foundational basis of it, that its origin comes from in the far reaches of antiquity, in the culture known as ancient Kemet, now known as ancient Egypt, in which members of their culture referred to themselves as Asar, which translates in English to mean eternal soul. So the term soul is a modern adaptation of an ancient word in which was used in everyday communication as a sign of respect, adoration, and appreciation of their fellow members of their society, which is why the culture lasted longer than all known cultures documented today in human history. In fact, according to their calendar, we'll be in the year 38,787. The year 2021 would be. So that is the ancient origin of the word soul. And Soulin, as we have come to adopt, simply means to show compassion towards oneself and others. And that's based on the ancient principle known as Ma'at. Ma'at philosophy is order, reciprocity, righteousness, truth, justice, peace, harmony, and balance. And this was symbolized by the goddess, the winged goddess, with a feather in her headdress, as she sat in miniature on a scale at the judgment scene in the hieroglyphic text. And it is the model from which the United States adopted the blind lady justice holding a scale as opposed to being on the scale. And that's a change and a shift in mindset and philosophy. But I'll turn it over to Mzuri and let her share with you this fascinating way that the song, which is entitled Soulin, was rediscovered after 21 years. It was recorded by Mzuri and produced by David Eaton of the New York City Symphony Orchestra. And here we are in 2021, and 21 years ago, it was recorded. Mzuri, why don't you go ahead and share that?
I thought you'd never ask. Well, I called my buddy David Eaton, and we've done many projects together. And I knew that he was in Korea, so I wanted to catch up with him to see what he was doing, because he's been stuck there because of COVID for the last year. Oh. And so after we had our talk about projects, things that we might possibly do in the future, and things that we've done in the past over the last 25, 27 years. And I got an email from him saying a blast from the past. And I clicked it, and it was the song Soulin that I had recorded that I had totally forgotten about. And when Djehuty heard it, he goes, oh my God, he ran downstairs and he came up with this idea, because I had been asking him for a radio show for like the last 4 or 5 years. And so he's like, I think this is it, this Soulin. The word first, he came up with the word, what the definition of the word was. And then all of a sudden, after he came up with the definition, he said, the radio show. And I'm like, okay. So, and it's been evolving. And let me tell you, where it's going is beyond me. I was actually on the radio yesterday on WPFW out of DC with my good friend, Dr. Ife Williams, who is the president of the National Congress of Black Women. Wow. And she and Cicely Tyson were cut buddies. Miss Tyson used to come stay at her house, and they were just the best of friends. And so we were talking about the show and talking about Miss Tyson. And all of a sudden she said to me, she said, Mzuri, have you considered playing her? You could do it. You look like her. And I was floored. So now I'm getting emails from people who heard me on the radio show saying, I'm looking forward to you as Cicely Tyson. So that's how it's evolving, Calvin. In my audience, listen, I don't know what God has in store. All I know, it's great. So I'm just following the call.
I love it. And it fits the theme of soul, right? When I think of soul, I think of flow. When I think of flow, I think of just being in a constant state of just presentness, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, when I teach, when I'm in front of my kids, there is the spirit is present, like I am in flow with my kids, especially when I am teaching them something that I care about and something that they care about. Teachers literally had to flip everything that they learned over the last 13 years, 12 years, forever, and just could do it virtually, right? Adaptation, they had to adapt. Everybody had to adapt. I'm sure a lot of people in the humanities and the art field, you all had to adapt. So what advice would you give to teachers out there on how can they hone in that soul? Because we lost our infrastructure, unfortunately. Wow. We've lost our classroom. We don't have that personal connection. So I'm curious to know, as artists, because I'm sure you all are definitely creating every day, what advice would you give to teachers who have struggled with creating that soul in the virtual class setting?
I will let Djehuty answer first, because I have to think about that. I did actually do my performance as a virtual performance. And we licensed it to Comcast and AARP and Blueprint North Carolina, Dell State. So, and people gave us feedback how wonderful it was. So I don't know how I connect. I can't really say how I connected, but spirit, the spirit is something that you cannot talk about really on the physical level because it's beyond physical. So spiritually connecting, I think, is something that's nonverbal. It's like air. We know that we're breathing it, but we can't see it. So we know we're connecting, even though we can't see that connection, we could feel it. And I don't know what Djehuty would have to say about that, but I feel that I did connect in my virtual performance. I really do feel that I connected, and I was soul in the people. It was the message. It was the message that, that you give, that connects that soul, and that you soul with that person. So yeah, it's the message, I believe, that I was given.
Well, my response to that is first and foremost an understanding that the central crisis challenge of humanity is identity, an identity crisis, if you will. And the only way that we can find our balance is by identifying with our true self, which is spirit, which is the soul itself. And the way that's done is not that difficult, really, because when you close your eyes, the physical realm becomes darkness. And the only thing that is present are your thoughts, are consciousness itself. And it is in that darkness that you discover the real you. And that is done through what I call the real IQ. The real IQ, contrary to what we've come to understand IQ to be, a measure of intellect, the real IQ is the inner quest, or otherwise the immortal quest. Now, I saw the backdrop of, I'm looking for it now. I can't see you. I can't see you on the screen anymore. There you are. I wanted to find you on the screen here.
Yep. Can you see me now?
Okay, there you are.
All right. Perfect.
Okay. All right. I noticed the backdrop behind you there is the Wakanda tree there with Prince T'Challa, right? King, right? Going to visit his father, right? The ancestors.
That's the baobab, right? The baobab.
You're the
first person to point that out, just so you know.
The baobab tree.
Okay. Well, it's quite evident that we have an understanding that we are truly spirit being, our consciousness, because that's the only reality that is, right? Consciousness. And that everything around us is a projection of that consciousness. Yes? And so the short of this is that I refer to soul as the acronym of soul as spirit of unlimited light. Soul, spirit of unlimited light. And light itself is luminous, immortal glory of heavenly truth. And that's the light of consciousness that we all possess. And the only way we can tap into that is by going within the inner quest, okay? The immortal quest. And that's through meditation and reflection. So the short answer is meditation and reflection. That's how we discover the real you. And when you identify with the wheel in the middle of the wheel, the nucleus of your universe is you. the real you, the spirit you, then all of the projections of yourself, whatever they are, your gender is a projection of yourself. That's not the real you, right? Your other projections of yourself is your occupation and the roles that you play, whether it is husband or wife or a teacher or whatever it is. So finding your identity with the real you is finding the place of balance whereby you can get more in alignment with serving the roles that you are serving.
Right, right, exactly. Because it's kind of like you need, because the more you focus on building the inner self, the physical part automatically becomes dependent on the inner part. So it kind of, I feel like we focus on the outer part than the inner part too often sometimes.
Well, that's exactly what happens. Exactly what happens is that humanity as a whole is out of balance in this area because we focus more on our functional reality, our functional self, rather than our true identity of who we are. And so our soul, as it were, wheel of life wobbles, right? Mm. And it becomes chaotic. Why? Because we focus more on our gender identity, or we focus more on our identity as a husband or as a wife or as a teacher, as a this or as a that. And you actually are diffusing the power of who you are because you're focusing on something that is fleeting.
Finite.
Yeah, finite and fleeting. But when you tap into the real you, now you tap into the immortal you. And as a result, that is where the super Heru, H-E-R-U, the origin of the word, the Greek word hero, derived from. And that is the healing energy with redeeming understanding.
Oh. Hey, man, you got acronyms. You got like 5 acronyms just popping out your pocket, man.
Well, that's a book that I'm writing. I got over 100 of them.
Wow. Mzuri and my brother Djehuty dropping the gems in only 15 minutes, man. Oh my gosh. I love it.
We're actually, Calvin, going to have to jump because we have to go into rehearsal.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to let people know how to listen in tonight on blogtalkradio.com/HTSM, which means Healing Through the Sound of Music, which is my 501c3 non-for-profit. And if anybody's interested in a virtual performance of Fannie Lou Hamer for Black History Month, yes, call Miss P, my assistant, 347-395-0259. We're up and ready. You know, we're ready for Black History Month virtually. So that's 347-395-0259. And that's Miss T. That's my girl.
There we go. There we go. And again, one more time, what time is the show and where can they find it?
7 p.m. www.blogtalk.com/H like house, T like Thomas, S like Sam, M like money. HTSM./HTSM, correct, babe?
That's Blog Talk Radio, include radio. blogtalkradio.com/HTSM. blogtalkradio.com/HTSM.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. And then that's the simplicity, y'all. If you all love this little bitty excerpt of knowledge you got, imagine it manifested in something else. I really appreciate you all. And
yes. Tonight we're going to do a little dedication to Miss Cicely Tyson, who was the world's greatest. I tell you, you know, she was a light for all of us.
Well, I got a special gem I'll leave with you, dear brother. And because of the timing of the backdrop of the theme that you have set, that I should honor you and gift you with this.
Please.
Okay. And that is the secret behind what has come to be known as the Wakanda pose.
Mm.
It is a little known secret. Few know, only those that have studied the ancient history, but that is also what is known as the Asar pose, the Asar pose, or the Asar posture. And what Asar means eternal soul in ancient African Kemetan mystical philosophy. Okay, means eternal soul. And Asar held in his hand two items. He held a crook, like a shepherd's crook, and a flail. And each of these items had meaning to them, a symbolism. So what they represented, the crook represents royalty and leadership. The flail represents discipline and command. So the meaning behind, anytime you walk up to anyone now and you say Wakanda forever, in reality, what you're saying is that you are mimicking the Asar posture of royalty and leadership, discipline and command. And so I'll leave that with you with another pose or posture. Upraised hands faced outward towards you, and they uttered dua, D-U-A, to one another, which means adorations to the divine presence. So I say dua with royalty and leadership, with discipline and command. Hotep.
Hotep. Thank you all. Thank you all so much.
Much, Calvin.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you're not busy, you and your wife, tune in and check us out at Soulin with Mzuri and Djehuty at 7 o'clock Eastern time.
Got you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, y'all.
Thank you.